Welcome to my video blog, and today I'm in Carmel in beautiful sunny California, and the sun is streaming in through the windows, and I'm here at the home of Dr. Riane Eisler. And Dr. Eisler is the author of a fantastic book called The Real Wealth of Nations. She's an author of a number of books, but this is her most recent book, and it's all about caring economics, which is something I've been studying this last year and really passionate about. So I'm loving the opportunity to spend some time with Riane.
And you wanted me to talk about caring economics.
Yeah, just give us, because as soon as I heard the words, because of my background in homes and homemaking and caring and valuing everything that happens in a home, it spoke to me in a non-verbal way, but it would be lovely to hear.
I think it speaks to many of us, and then other people are astonished just by the idea of putting those two words, caring and economics, in the same sentence.
Magic, isn't it?
Yes.
It just kind of changes everything when you add that word, caring.
It doesn't it, though? And we're not used to it because we're so used to the notion that it's okay for economic systems to not really work for people or for nature. That is something that we've just learned to accept somehow.
Just learn to accept. I think that's what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
There's nothing we can do to change it.
So the premise of caring economics and of the Real Wealth of Nations and of the program that you were part of, which is our Center for Partnership Studies Caring Economics project, the premise is very simple. It's something that once you say it, it sounds obvious that the real wealth of a nation, of the world, is not financial. We certainly saw that, didn't we, with the meltdown of those derivatives, those credit swaps into thin air, that it consists of the contributions of people and of nature. And that therefore we need what we have not had. We need economic measurements, economic policies, economic practices that give visibility and real value to the most important human work, the work of caring for people, starting in early childhood, and caring for our natural environment. And this is not only very important in human terms. I mean, not having these kinds of policies and measurements has always caused enormous suffering, enormous damage. But as we now enter into what people call the post-industrial knowledge service era, when economists keep telling us that the most important capital is what they like to call high-quality human capital, if we don't invest in caring for people, starting in early childhood, because that's what neuroscience, not just psychology, tells us is what really makes the difference, we're going to keep slipping backwards. We're not going to be able to function as nations, as economies.
Yeah. We've got to count and value the invisible of things just happening, of people just getting looked after, of children just being brought up. I mean, it's such important work. I really feel that, what I would really be interested in insights about how women can value what we don't value. And we were asking society to value something, but we women have to value what we do, don't we?
Absolutely. And of course we've been taught, I remember when I was a young mother, people used to go to cocktail parties and they would say, "What do you do?" And if you said, in those days we said, "I'm a housewife." We didn't even say homemaker. The people would say, "I'm just a housewife." And they just turn away and move on to somebody, quote, more interesting. And you know, we've internalized this devaluation of the, quote, women's work, whether it's done by a woman or a man, of caring and caregiving, to our great damage and peril. What can we do as women? Well, we certainly can change our own attitude and really recognize that, as I said, whether it's done by a woman or a man, and men aren't going to do it if it's not valued.
No.
I mean, it's easier for women to get into the corporation than it is very often to get men to do.
Yeah, the drive is always out of the home, isn't it?
That's right.
Always out of the home.
And we should be able to do both. All of us, men and women. I mean, that's really what balancing life and work at home and work outside. But you know, that's the first step. But the second step is more than that. become informed about that there is a better alternative, that there is such a thing as a whole system of caring economics that's being developed, not only in my own work, in books like The Real Wealth of Nations, but by scholars now in the Academy of Management. A whole field is emerging, and that it is really up to us to become agents for a new conversation. That's the second step. So that's why at the Center for Partnership Studies we have the program that you were part of the first pilot. Our Caring Economics Conversation Leaders program, and we're going to have certification programs soon. The thing about it is this, that we have to start with the fact that caring work and investing in caring for people is the most cost-effective investment a society can make. Even if we start with business, you know that companies that are always in the working mothers or the Fortune 500 best companies to work for, you know, they have flex time, they have paid parental leave, they have health care.
Friendly.
Yes, much
easier
more
for women
friendly.
executives.
Or for men.
Yeah, it ends up being helpful for men, but it's originally targeted,
absolutely,
isn't it, to support the keep
women.
the female talents.
But you know that those companies have a substantially higher return to investors. Studies show this. But also nations that invest in their people, in caring for their people, like Sweden, Norway, Finland, which were dirt poor at the beginning of the 20th century. They invested in caring for their people, paid very generous paid parental leave, stipends to families to care for children, very good prenatal care, very wonderful help with early childhood education. These nations today invariably are in the highest ranks, not only of the United Nations Human Development Reports, but of the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Report. So our job is to really spread the word, spread the information, use the data. Caring pays, not only in human terms, not only in environmental terms, but in purely financial, economic terms.